Starting with a cough. Hey, Jason.
What's happening?
What's a happening?
Well, nothing, mate. Just
Nothing, mate.
chilling,
Uh,
minding my business.
you're not as bright and shiny as I am. Internally and externally. Just kidding.
There we go.
Maybe I'll move you back a little bit here. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I always want to say good morning because it's morning where we are right now.
Yes.
But this will go live tonight. It's kind of confusing to people, but we've had a couple people ask questions, so that's good.
I like it.
So we have an interesting topic today, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll this intro.
Roll
Our
tape.
spectacular intro, and then we'll be right back.
Roll on one.
Well, hello there. This is your realtor and lending team, Jason and Katie. We work in Metro Phoenix, Prescott. Actually, we can work all over Arizona. We do cool things like hold our fingers up and count stuff. We also do things like point and hold our hands in positions where it looks like we're talking about something really important. But the thing we do best is laugh. Oh, and we support you too. So thanks for joining us. We love your socks. We had the same idea.
Guys, we didn't even plan that. We
didn't. We're just on the same page all the time. I look like a giant, and you look like a tiny little man. I'm squashing your head. I'm squashing your head. Squashing your face. Do you remember that?
I'm going to squash you.
Kids in the hall. I know. Okay, we have an interesting topic today, you guys. I picked an orange background, but you can't really see it because we look really far away when we do this. So we're putting ourselves up close and personal. So today, this was Jason's idea. Being self-employed and buying a house and other stuff too.
Yes.
Jason, what's the biggest misconception people have when being self-employed and wanting to buy a house or a car or something like that? But we're going to talk houses because that's what we do.
Well, let's talk about a few things like self-employed. First of all, the biggest mistake that you can make is thinking because you're self-employed, you can't qualify to buy. That's not necessarily accurate. Here's one of the things that I hear the most from people. It's like, well, I'm self-employed, so I take a lot of write-offs, and so they think that by writing off all their income, they don't have options to qualify.
I think I need you to scoot closer because you're sounding far away.
Am I sounding far? How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, better. You need a cool mic like I have.
I need a cool. You know what?
You need a blue Yeti, but it's not blue; it's black.
Good Lord! Next week, that's happening.
Oh, good. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, there's different loan programs that exist. There's loan programs that we can use where we look at borrowers' bank statements, things like that. That'll really help. But I'll tell you this: one of the things that I actually hear the most, and so this is like a public service announcement.
Okay.
I will get people who do applications and they're self-employed and they'll say, well, I don't really claim all of my cash. Have you ever heard anybody say anything like that?
Well, yeah, no. So here's the thing. Even back in the day, I was a bartender for many, many, many years, even while teaching. So of course I claimed 100% of my tips.
Of course.
But so would that include somebody like that that's not technically self-employed, but doesn't claim all their tips because they don't have to?
It would.
Okay.
But here's the question.
People say that all the time.
So I had this conversation with a guy last week. We were talking and he had told me that he had made a lot more money than what he put on his taxes because a lot of it was cash. And
I'm pretty sure you hear this all the time because
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, well, what do you do with that cash? And his answer was, well, I put it in the bank. So here's the thing, like to all of our self-employed peeps out there, anybody who's thinking, what happens, Katie, if he ever gets audited and the IRS comes in and they ask for bank statements, business records, all of those different things?
They're going to need to know where that came from.
That's exactly right.
And when you're going through, no, I'm not a mortgage person, but you are. When going through the loan process, everything has to be verified. And sometimes money has to be seasoned. So if you get money as a gift or whatever, has to sit in there for a while, right?
That's right.
So why do they need to know where that comes from? Because I've had other people. I had a guy one time that's like, why do I have to show proof of funds if I'm paying cash? And I'm like, because they need to know you have the funds. You can't just walk in with a suitcase full of money.
Well, and because we need to know that you didn't borrow it from somebody, right? Like if all of a sudden you have a bunch of cash, what if we looked at your, bank statements and that money came from like JG Wentworth or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one of these places that will do personal loans, then you've got a liability we're not counting against you. But that self-employed person, here's the reason why this, especially right now, is a big deal. And I don't know if you saw this, but they passed in August a bill. It was a bill passed by both Republicans and Democrats, one of the few times they did something together. And Joe Biden signed it into law. They are hiring an additional 87,000 IRS agents. Have you heard about this?
Yeah. So why? Tell me why.
Well, part of the reason why is because they don't have enough enforcement. They want to be able to audit. And here's the reason why. Think about how, and I have had people tell me.
I roll.
I have had people tell me that they have generated revenues in their business in six figures, and they're not claiming that income when they do their taxes. And so the IRS, if they don't audit those people, they're not collecting those tax revenues, right?
But how do you not claim that? Because
the great misnomer with a lot of people who are self-employed is that if I get paid cash, I don't have to claim it. You are actually required to claim all of that income. And if you do not, the IRS, if they find out about it, if they audit you and they figure out there's a whole bunch of unreported, and here's the thing, I know self-employed people who have done this, and they actually happen to be one of the unlucky few who did get audited. The IRS, man, they can really, really be nasty and mess up your world. I know people who have been completely ruined by the IRS, and it was just because they didn't know. It's because they didn't know. So here's the thing, right?
So they weren't necessarily hiding it. I feel like I'm very bright here. They're not necessarily hiding it because it's in the bank, but they didn't claim it. So they thought they didn't have to. I mean, I can see where somebody would think that, but
yeah. But see, that's the thing, right? And so here's what's really interesting. And I've seen this with people who are self-employed. So this is going back to the mortgage piece. Let me tell you something that's really important.
Okay.
It's critical that you understand how our tax code actually works. There are self-employed people that I see that are writing off expenses that they don't have to. Imagine if you were self-employed and you had the ability to change your taxable income. Let's say that you paid an additional $2,000 in federal income tax, and it was the difference between being able to buy a house and not being able to qualify. Would you rather pay $2,000 in federal income tax, that's less than $200 in a tax year, and be able to qualify for a house, or write off all your income, save the $2,000 out of principal, whatever it is? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
what did you just say? A $200 tax share? What does that mean?
Well, I'm saying if you ended up paying $2,000 a year in federal income tax, if you divide that number by 12, it's less than $200 a month.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
See,
so
you gotta talk to the lay people.
I go too fast over the numbers.
I know. You just assume I know everything.
Well, think about it like this: the standard, deduction for married filing joint is $25,000. That means the first $25,000 of income that you make, you don't pay a penny of tax on it, not $1.
Well,
so
this is interesting because, as you know, I just got new tax people, and I'm paying a lot of money. But I would recommend everybody do this because that's also a write-off. So say I made $5,000 in a month, it's $4,000 net or whatever it's called, because that $1,000 I'm paying a month, it's a write-off. Okay, so what they did is I'm an S corp, and now I'm saving lots of money, and I've got lots more write-offs than I even knew.
Not just that, but you're not paying SE tax anymore.
Yes, so that's like $25,000 I saved in taxes just from 2021.
Yeah.
And that makes me sound like I'm such a baller, but I mean, I wouldn't have been able to pay it.
Well, Katie, you kind of are. If we're being honest, let's just tell the truth.
I do kind of have to tell you that kind of big deal around here.
Here's the point, right? The point is that your tax strategy matters when it comes to getting a mortgage, but here's the other part, right? It's always good to have good people double checking what it is that you're doing. If you don't have a great CPA, if you don't have that connection to do that, you need to talk to Katie. You need to talk to me.
Yeah, and I don't even worry about it anymore. I used to live in anxiety and fear constantly. And so now I'm just okay, and I got this. And so I think what you're saying too is interesting, because I think what a lot of people do is they're like, okay, I'm a server or I'm self-employed. Now I'm going to claim every single thing I have to make it look like I make way more money. I don't know how they do it, but they're like, okay, so I have to do, they think they have to do it for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, here's the deal, right? Like your tax returns matter when it comes to getting a mortgage, unless we use a different kind of loan program, which we have those, because sometimes we need to do it. Sometimes you're just not going to have a tax return no matter what you do.
Yeah.
That's going to qualify you. Here's all it is that I'm saying. I'm saying that people in general, in my experience, talking to self-employed people, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, don't really understand how the tax code works.
Okay.
And there are two places, where I can see that affecting them relative to, purchasing a house or overall life. Number one is not understanding that whenever you earn cash, you're supposed to claim it. You are. And here's the thing. If you're going to put that money in the bank, if that's what you're going to do with the cash that you
Just
get.
what I was going to ask.
If you put it in the bank, the IRS will see that if they audit you. And if they see it and they realize that you did not claim it, they're going to come after you. So
the simply put, then, if somebody is getting paid cash for something and they put it in the bank, do they just keep a ledger themselves, like payment for fixing someone's, remodeling a bathroom or whatever? Do they keep that themselves, or can they put that on the bank statement?
I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
So we have Airbnbs, right?
Yes.
So that's self-employed, right? That's a self-employed business that we have. Most of my money actually comes from Airbnb. So they issue me a 1099 that tells me how much I make. But occasionally we will have people that come and stay with us outside of Airbnb, and they send us, cash, to basically stay at the place. Okay. So let's say that I, have somebody come up and stay for 3 or 4 days, and, they pay me $500. That's $500 worth of cash. What I do, I claim it. And the reason why I claim it is because I put it in the bank.
Right.
And if I'm ever audited and the IRS sees a $500 deposit and they come to me and they say, where is this money? I see your 1099s, all of this adds up. Where did this $500 come from? And I end up saying, well, it's cash that I took for a rental. I'm going to get in trouble for that because they didn't report it. Right.
So that's what I'm asking. How do you report that? Oh my gosh, my light almost fell down. So do you just need to keep a ledger, or do you tell your bank, this is why I'm depositing it, and they put a note in there?
No, you keep a ledger of it in your accounting software, whatever it is. Right. So, part of what you have to do when you're running a business is you have to keep your books. That's important. You have to have receipts for your expenses. Right. So if they come in and you're like, oh, I spent, $62 at Walmart on this for my business, you actually have to have the receipt for that. You need to be able to show it, because how do they know if you bought groceries for your family, if you spent $62 buying, repair items for whatever? So
stuff I've done, Mike, if I've bought more than one thing, like $50 for the business and $25 worth of groceries, I highlight the stuff on the receipt for the business and itemize that out with, whatever it is.
That's right.
And now I go over it with my tax people. We have monthly meetings, so that's good.
Right.
So we can
and then you keep that receipt, right? In case the IRS ever wants to see the documentation, then you have it, and you can show them, hey, this is, what I mean? So it's important how you keep your books. It's important how you do those things, because they can help you when it comes time to buy a house, and they can help you stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
87,000 new IRS agents is not a small thing. That's a big deal. And you're going to see more and more people getting audited. And again, if you're watching us, you don't want to put yourself in a position, where the IRS is asking you difficult questions. And, here's what they won't accept. I don't know is not a defense. They won't take that. It's your responsibility to know. And so, again, moral of the story today, you're buying a house, talk to us, because if you're self-employed, we can make it work. But most importantly, make sure you have good people. Make sure you have a great real estate agent. Make sure you have a great CPA. Make sure that you have somebody that is protecting you, because there's risk out there and you don't want to take it if you don't have to.
And this guy can help you if you are self-employed with the financial piece of it. I can help you with organizing the other stuff and figuring out what house you want to buy and help you along the way too, because I do know some stuff. But Jason can really help you with, okay, well, this is where you're at and this is what you need to do in order to get there. Here's some suggestions. It's basically like free financial advice in order to get you into a home, which is very cool, right?
Yeah. Well, look, I'll leave you with one more thing, right? So the way that you do your taxes, just like you said, the amount of money that you had the ability to save by virtue of the fact that you got a real tax professional, that's a big deal. And I mean, here's the thing. What we want to do is we want to pay our taxes, right? We want to pay what it is that we owe, but we don't want to pay a penny more.
Right.
So,
because I was a teacher for 16 years.
Yeah.
Still having to pay every year, and like no matter what I made, I'd taken home $28,000. Like it's crazy what teachers don't get paid, and then they still get screwed at the end. Being single and not having kids, I get screwed more. So this is awesome news.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you a question really quickly here.
Okay.
Do you think that it matters? Okay, so I don't know how to put this. I've got a weird in the news. Weird in the news. It's a very strange one. Like, so do you think it would matter? I don't even really have a question, I guess, because it has to do with smells. I was going to talk about
smell,
showering and stuff, but here, I'm going to show it to you.
Well, we're for it. Just
we are for it. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Are you a mosquito magnet? Oh, I hate these ads. Okay. This is, whoa, that's frozen. Are you a mosquito magnet?
Hit decline. Hit decline down there.
Oh, whoops. Now I got, okay. Can you still see me?
I can see you.
Can you see the screen?
No.
Are you a mosquito magnet? I might have to go to another one. This is really interesting.
I feel like a mosquito magnet, if that matters. Is that bad? Does it mean anything? Right? Well, Jason, you're rather pungent.
I'm a magnet for, I don't know, just weird stuff. Okay, let me see. I did a different one from the Washington
Post. Can I just say that mosquitoes might be the biggest reason why somebody shouldn't do Naked and Afraid? Just saying.
Exactly. Are you a mosquito magnet? It's because of how you smell. Right? So your body's a big protein shake that smells like stinky feet for hungry mosquitoes, a new study has found. So there's, look how gross they look. Can you see it on the screen?
Oh, God.
Gross. So like, how do I get rid of this thing? Okay. So they emit a tantalizing combination of chemicals that invites the pesky insects to dine on them. So they did this test, this other one that I was looking at, and basically they, you see this, they said, think of their body as a big protein shake. Some people are more attractive to mosquitoes when they're pregnant or after they've had a few beers. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So fortunately, nobody had to sit in a room full of mosquitoes to do this. They cut like stockings, like pantyhose into 2-inch pieces and placed them on the fabric behind 2 separate trapdoors in a clear plastic box where a dozen mosquitoes. So they had these people wearing them on their arms, and then they put them in these separate boxes, and then they decided, where the mosquitoes would go.
Oh, right? My goodness.
So, people that have higher levels of compounds called carbolytic acids on their skin are more likely to be mosquito magnets. I don't know. So it says, notably, the nylon stockings used in the study didn't actually smell like sweat. They're incredibly sensitive to human odor, and perfume or cologne can't cover it up. So no matter what you do. So I wonder what it is about, like bug spray or whatever. But I thought that was interesting because, like, how do you know? Do you get bit by mosquitoes a lot?
Yes.
Then you've got whatever that thing is. You got to figure it out.
I'm subject 33. I'm pretty positive.
What is subject 30? I saw that on there, but
subject 33 was the one who won every single time.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the one that cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? And I have one more because it was really funny. You know the band Weezer?
Yes, Weezer.
Okay,
yes.
So they had this couple of guys. Let's see.
They had this little gem.
Hang on a second. Ow! The dogs are playing right at my feet, of course. Okay, so this guy, band responds to viral Weezer billboard in Utah. So these guys, I'm going to show that to you in a second here. these guys put it up on this street in Utah, and they did it because they just wanted to put it up there. So he and his business partner Creed Stump thought it would be funny to put it on a billboard in the worst font ever, and it went viral, right? And it says actually has the band members of Weezer on it in a cartoon form, but it says "I love One Direction." So here's the picture of the T-shirt. Oh gosh, I have to stop sharing and share again. So here's a picture of the T-shirt. This is taking longer than I thought now. Okay, T-shirt. Okay, Can you see that now? Can you see the T-shirt? Okay, hilarious. So that's pretty funny. And then now I gotta stop sharing. I'll show you what happened and then how Weezer responded, which is really whoa. Sorry.
Wow.
See, where's my production assistant? Or I can just snap my fingers.
Where's producer?
As soon as we're Joe Rogan status.
Run up on me. I'ma do you dirty. What happens after you?
So did you see the end of that?
That is awesome.
Yeah. So Weezer put up a billboard saying, "Hey guys, thanks for putting up the billboard." So they're getting like lots of attention now. So these random dudes, look at the dogs back there. These random dudes.
It's awesome.
brought some attention back. But back to the mosquito thing, people do have to be careful. I have a friend who got bit by a mosquito here and got West Nile, literally fell to the floor and couldn't walk, had to learn how to walk again.
I've heard that.
So if you are a mosquito magnet, subject 33, you got to figure it out.
I've heard that.
And it's still weird.
Pass. Weird.
Okay, guess what else? It's time. I'm not wearing any today either.
Oh boy. Well, this podcast certainly changed.
I love your socks.
Love your socks, friend.
Have a great day, my friend.
All right, y'all.
All right, bye everybody.